Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Van Tyne. In today's segment, we are so excited to have Rob Davis and David Reinicke with us. This is the Automotive Warranty Network panel. Ted, I'm so excited to dive into this topic today.
Sarah, I am as well. And you know what, Sarah? It seems that this one is perfectly suited for the theme tailgate touchdown because there's so many analogies that can be made to the warranty receivables part of the business, and nobody better than Automotive Warranty Network and our friends there. Rob and David, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks, Ted. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks for having us back.
Thanks.
Well, I see we see you're all dressed for game day, and no questions there. And David, I like the references that you and Rob and Sarah and I had in the green room as to how football compares to what you're doing there and working with the dealers on their warranty management and receivables.
Yeah, so we were able to put together an analogy of the warranty process, and it's not quite as fun as football, but it's sort of relatable. So we always think of warranty as in a warranty department, really anybody can get a warranty claim paid and submitted, but it's still got to be compliant. And there's so many people in the service department in the dealership that touch that claim in order to make it compliant. So it's got to go through your service advisor, it's got to go through your technicians, it's got to go through your parts department, take your parts to the vehicle, and everybody has to do their part in the warranty process in order for there to be a good, clean product. I mean, a good warranty administrator can fix that all at the end of the process, but it's better if we can train the service staff and the dealership staff how to do it properly along the line and be more of a team. So we thought it'd be fun to kind of put this into a football analogy. And Rob Davis, he's our auditing manager. He's been with AWN for 18 years now. So he does the mock audits for our dealerships and our clients, internal audits for us, does a lot of training with dealerships where we can go out and train staff on the things we're about to talk about. So, I'll let Rob kind of tell you about the football analogy that we put together for the warranty process.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it just like David said, it's a team, right? Everybody's got to do their part or their job role responsibility, right? So there's a lot of job roles that happen before it gets to warranty administration. So you got service manager's the quarterback, right? He's boss man, he or she's boss man, right? And the quarterback is they're the star of the team, right? And then you got your service advisors, running backs. Technicians or wide receivers, they're scoring points, they're making money for the store, right? So they're running the ball, they're catching the ball, they're scoring touchdowns, again, making money, right? So now you have your warranty administrator is offensive line, they're protecting the store, right? They're not gonna send that non-compliant claim over. And like David said, there's a lot of things that need to happen before that, but they're protecting the store like offensive linemen are protecting that quarterback. And you get into defense. Your defense is kind of the other team, right? Is the warranty compliance. How well are you compliant with the manufacturer's policies and procedures? So if we're not very compliant, that defense can kind of sting us, right? So they can, we can get into an audit. The auditor is maybe the referee of the football game, right? So there's penalties, there's chargebacks, there's flags. So, and then you talk about the turnovers, which could be your audit chargeback. And we have a large chargeback that could be like a turnover, an interception for a defensive touchdown. So a lot of moving parts there. So it is definitely a team atmosphere and can relate to the football theme for sure.
Sarah, I'm thinking that our colleague Tully Williams would love this analogy.
Oh, absolutely, Ted. And David, just to continue the football theme, to come to you on, a question that, as Rob was describing this being a team effort, but on any football team, there's plays that you have to be practicing time and time again so that when you get to the real game, you can execute seamlessly. So what, from your perspective, are you seeing the most successful plays a dealership should be looking at for this year?
Well, I'll let Rob touch on some of this too, but I mean, definitely, a big one right now is one-time use parts, right? So, I mean, that's a really easy one. I think that a lot of manufacturers are focused on. is making sure your technicians are going through the repair manuals and repairing the vehicle per the manufacturer specifications. One missed bolt, one missed, part, can cause the whole claim to be charged back. And, it's a really important thing to educate your technicians on and your parts department on, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that going through that repair procedure can be very cumbersome for technicians and parts departments. So that's why some of that is missed sometimes. But like David was saying, that's an incomplete repair. And if that has anything to do with the safety related repair, that's the whole repair is going to get charged back. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, that we have a safety concern with that customer's vehicle at that point. So it's a big hit. It's a big common issue. A lot of other things we can practice on is proper time punching, time recording for our technicians, our stories, our comments that document what we've done diagnostic wise and repair wise. Those are things that you have to practice every day. Those are things that can unwind real quick in a shop. We call that shop control. And shop control can unwind real quick. It's hard to get back a hold of it, but it's easy to unwind.
And Rob, all the players on the team you just mentioned, there's a need to communication amongst all the team members, I think, is of vital importance.
Sure. And great point, Ed. Advisors need to understand what technicians' responsibilities are. Technicians need to understand what advisors' responsibilities are. Service manager, they have to know everybody's responsibility because they're responsible for everybody in their department.
I don't want to speak for you, Rob, but I know when you go into some of your trainings and stuff, you usually have advisors and technicians in the same training session, so they can kind of.
We have a team atmosphere training, so they understand. Everybody understands. We may even, like David said, with the parts department, sometimes we have our parts manager in there just to understand some of these requirements as well.
And David, the other piece that I'm thinking about as we're talking about, the football games and, all the different experiences that we have with our teams, the customer too is a spectator of all of this going on, right? And so we have to have a really seamless process, because ultimately, if the customer is not happy with what they're watching, they're going to change the channel, or they're going to, go someplace else to, watch a different game that's a little bit more exciting. So talk to us a little bit about how you're impacting the customer experience and what pieces you would recommend dealerships be considering with their teams.
That's a good question. Give any input on that?
Well, really, it turns into documentation of, even though the customers necessarily may not be paying for the repair, they still want to understand what you did to their car, right? They want to understand what that sensor did that turned that warning light on, and why did it come on? Was it a safety issue? Was I putting my family at risk by driving it for another week, right? And just clear communication. But that's really about documentation on the repair order, and that really comes down to the technician comments, and what is on the repair order, the final invoice that the customer receives.
I think it could also be your customer experience too, because the organization. And I know this might seem like a small thing, but just the organization of the process will have a better customer experience. I won't mention any dealership names, but I mean, they're having situations where the disorganization has caused confusion for the customer. Like, where's my vehicle? What's being done with it? Is it completed yet? Expectation for timelines, that kind of thing. So I think that's another way it could probably impact the customer and the customer experience as well.
CSI is huge in the automotive business right now, customer service index, so, I was in the dealership many moons ago, and we started doing that customer service index, and, it's really asking the customers how we should run our business, right? And maybe it's too much information from the customer, but, they asked, and the customers told them, this is what we want to see, so we don't change a channel, right? So.
Sure, because ultimately it's the customer who paid the admission, paid for the ticket, and ultimately pays the way of everybody who's working in the dealership. David, I have to ask you and Rob, since you work with so many dealers, Sarah and I are aware that AWN services thousands of dealers around the United States, are the biggest in the field. You see things probably a lot quicker than the average dealership that may have one or just a couple of rooftops. You see trends. You're probably aware of things that are happening and that dealers need to be aware of. You know, here we are coming into a new year in just a matter of weeks. What are some of the things that dealers should have in their playbook, you know, aware for 2025 and to be preparing their teams for?
I would say definitely prepare for audits. I mean, we do see an upswing in audits. We know that they're going to be more prevalent in 2025 and beyond. I mean, so I'd say prepare for that now. Not think it's never going to happen to me, or I'll get my stuff together a couple months from now. Whatever the case may be, I'd say one of the biggest things to focus on right now is inspect some ROs. Even if it's not us. Internally, inspect a handful of ROs every once in a while for compliance. Make sure you have your customer signatures, your sign add-on repairs, parts properly charged out, good write-ups, punch times. Just inspect that work every once in a while. So I think that's a very important thing for dealerships to be aware of that we think is going to be coming more to light through the next couple of years.
And Rob, I was very impressed that at your organization, you actually do, if you'd like to speak about it, a mock audit where you as a third party come in and perform that for the dealership, and show them, potentially what might have happened. Okay. If you want to speak to that, because I think that's unique in the industry and probably more important than ever.
Oh, definitely. And yeah, it's a product that we offer. It's a proactive audit. Proactive is the key word there, right? We're trying to get ahead of it instead of reacting to it. But yeah, I mean, I see all of the manufacturers' audits that our clients get. They come across my desk, so I have a team of auditors. We know what these different manufacturers are charging back, what the items for, the non-compliance issues. So we're privy to that information. We built that over many, many years, and we could do a 20, 30, or 50 RO audit for a dealership, just like a manufacturer's auditor would. And we have a CARS audit tool that it develops a financial report. It goes by repair order, and then the technician, the advisor, the repair order, and then the financial information. So we provide what the RO was when it closed, and then potential loss due to the non-compliance in these reasonings. So we do have a financial impact on this report, and we've had a lot of success with dealer auto groups taking advantage of that product, and you can see them getting better over a period of time. You do an audit, and then maybe you wait 3 months and do another audit and follow that up to see the improvements or where the areas that we need to still work on that.
And to answer the other part of that question, we do see trends, not only through our daily processing, but through audits too. So like Rob said, him and his team review all the audits that happen to our clients, right? So we bring audits in and, re-audit them essentially to see, and then we see trends with certain manufacturers, right? So one particular manufacturer, we start seeing them get audited this week and the next week and the next week. So you start to see the trend in the manufacturer. But then on our daily processing of certain manufacturers, having 40, 50 to 150 of one type of manufacturer, yes, you do see the trends on our daily process too, and what's being approved, charged back, that kind of thing. So.
And David, a follow-up on that, if I may, the pieces that we're hearing a lot about with recalls and all of the different software updates that are happening on vehicles. I mean, technology in cars is rapidly increasing. Are you seeing any correlations between, how important the paying attention to these pieces now from the warranty perspective? Is the technology impacting some of these claims for dealers?
Absolutely. I mean, I think, the more technical the components get, the more expensive the components are, the more expensive they are to fix. I mean, you've got batteries that are $30,000-$40,000 on EVs, so it's definitely very important to make sure you get that warranty repair order across the finish line, across the goal line successfully with all the proper components you need, because you don't want to be staring back at a $60,000 warranty claim that's now being charged back, and maybe even extrapolated depending on the manufacturer. So, it's definitely something. The technology piece definitely plays into it, and it increases the expense of warranty. But I also think it increases a manufacturer's likelihood to audit. I mean, the warranty industry is a very, very there's a lot of money in it, like we talked about before. I mean, our company alone processes $2 billion a year in warranty, and we have a small part of the market share. So there's a lot of money out there that needs to be protected and guarded, and dealerships are entitled to it. We just have to follow the proper steps to make sure they get it correctly.
And Rob, just like in a real football game, the clock is running. There's a clock ticking on that warranty receivable.
Yeah.
We don't have, whatever time we need. We have to submit that in a timely manner. Otherwise, we run out of time. Okay. And there's no 2-minute warnings. There's no stopping the clock. We got to pay attention to that clock that's ticking on the scoreboard.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing, to kind of go off of what Sarah was talking about as well, is certification for the technicians on these EVs. Not your average technician can work on these vehicles, on these high-tech vehicles with all the electronics. And, again, if it's a full EV vehicle, that takes a proper amount of training, and that's not an easy thing to accomplish. So definitely they need to plan for that. But time submission, right? You don't want to run out of time to get that money. There are manufacturers that have hard set dates, and you only have a certain amount of days to submit this. And after that day is done, that's it, right? So,
Rob, I'm just curious, is that a Chicago Bears jersey?
It is.
Okay. Sarah, I was wondering. I wasn't sure. Is there a rivalry somehow between Green Bay and?
Just a little bit, just a little one. Yes, definitely a rivalry. I think it's the oldest rivalry in the NFL. I think they've played over 100 years against each other. So, yeah.
I've driven between Wisconsin and Chicago in the fall, just prior to a game, and I've seen how serious the fans are along the way. Wow.
Yeah. And a lot of times neither team is very good. They just don't like each other.
All right. So what I want to close with here is I want to ask our friends and colleagues at AWN, as we enter the new year, any advice for our dealer audience? I know there's a dealer here on the Roundtable, David, who recently came aboard with AWN and is very pleased and very impressed with the people you've got there, and didn't expect to be talking to you this year, but lo and behold, is now a client of yours, and likes what they see. So any suggestions or any tips or pointers that either of you can have for our fixed operations audience, things that you'd recommend going into the new year?
I think just to sum up what we've talked about is just be aware and be ready. I mean, audits are going to happen. It's not a matter of if, but it's just when it's going to happen. So, no time like the present to inspect your work, inspect a handful of ROs on a weekly or a monthly basis, just to make sure everybody's doing what they should be doing. If you're not going to utilize us for training, maybe do some internal training. Make sure your techs, your advisors, parts are all communicating. Yeah.
Low hanging fruit. Fix the easy stuff, right? I mean, you're not getting a customer signature. That can take that whole repair order back in an audit. Like something small technicality like that. That's what audits are. Mm-hmm. That's where they get you, is little technicalities here and there. Be prepared. Understand fixed ops. They need to get in front of their people and train them. Train them proper procedures. Some of the policies have changed for manufacturers. Some are not requiring time punches anymore, but they're requiring other documentation, pictures, supporting documentation, uploading files in lieu of that. So making sure that all that supporting documentation is there. Your repair order is properly documented. I's are dotted, T's are crossed. And again, low hanging fruit. Don't let that easy stuff get you in an audit. because they're going to find something. The manufacturer audit will find something on you. That's their job.
And Sarah, one of the things I like about AWN, another one of our clients reached out recently. They had questions, and I said, "Why don't you reach out to David Reinicke at Automotive Warranty Network?" And I was on a three-way text, and the first thing David said is, "Look, I'm not going to try to sell you anything today. I'm here to answer your questions, and if you become a client as a result, great." So, Sarah, I really like the fact that our dealers can reach out as a resource to AWN if they have questions on the process.
Yeah, and I don't want to overstate that, but that's genuine. If anybody has any questions, we're not a salesy company. So if you have questions, I'm not going to call you back 20 times next week and try to pin you down. I mean, if you can become a client as a result of it, that's great. We can have a partnership, but other than that, we're here to help dealerships be successful. So.
Wonderful. All right. Well, I want to thank Automotive Warranty Network. And on behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, Sarah and I want to wish you, David and Rob, you and your families and the whole AWN family very happy Thanksgiving next week. And thank you for all you do.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate that. And happy Thanksgiving to you and your families as well.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for having us.
Everybody, the best in the business, Automotive Warranty Network. Reach out with your questions, and a great resource. They understand this like no other. And David Reinicke and Rob Davis here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.